Come love the world with me. That song has a special place in my heart. Love can move the world. Because when I was driving back and forth in my ministerial school training, I listened to that CD back in the day when cars had CD players. And I'd listen to that CD. I listened to another CD also, which was Daniel Nahmod, Sacred Love. And it made such a difference to me because listening to those CDs over and over, by the time I got to class, I was in love. And those songs still have that effect on me. And so today we're talking about love. Whatever the question, love is the answer. I remember that quote from a long time ago from the Course in Miracles. That's where I remember it from. Whatever the question, love is the answer. So this week, this month, in Centers for Spiritual Living, we are talking about love. Love out loud. So we often say God, the word God is synonymous with love. Sometimes we substitute love for God and we know since God is all there is, then love is all there is. Ernest Holmes tells us this. He says, the essence of love, while elusive, pervades everything, fires the heart, stimulates the emotions, renews the soul, and proclaims the spirit. Only love knows love, and love knows only love. A universal sense alone bears witness to the divine fact. God is love, and love is God. So this month, we're invited to lean into love and to express love out loud. But I don't know about you, sometimes in this world where we hear about war, violence, division, it's challenging to see that all is love. And I need reminders. I need reminders like that song. I need to know to look for love every place I go, in all the people I interact with, in the events of the world, and, most of all, within myself. Because I know if I want to see more love in the world, I must be willing to live as an example of love in action. And in a world that's often marked by the division, the hatred, the conflict, that's what gets the news. It's crucial for us to remember and celebrate the transformative power of love. And as a reminder, this week a video came across my desk. And it's a very sweet video. I'd like to show it to you now.
Hi, buddy. Give me a hug, give me a hug, give me a hug, give me a hug, give me a hug.
Don't you just feel love in watching that? Yes, and that's one of the ways that we can support ourselves by leaning into love. And another way we advocate for ourselves and each other's right to express our own unique ways. I didn't notice any dogs or cats in that video. Those were unique experiences of love. And that's how we help to create a world that works for everyone. So regardless of the challenges that we're facing in our personal lives or in the world, love is always the answer. What I know is the universe makes no mistakes. Every experience is unfolding for the highest and best for the world at large. And when we live in that understanding that love always wins, we consciously see how love is always unfolding before us. Love is not merely an emotion, it's a dynamic energy that flows through all existence. It's the glue that holds the universe together. I've heard it makes the world go round, and it connects us to each other and to the divine. And when we embrace that love, we experience harmony and wholeness in our life. And who doesn't want that? See, love is the key to achieving balance within ourselves and in the world around us. Again, Ernest Holmes tells us God is love and God is the law, and the love of God is omnipresent. The law of God is omnipresent. The love of God is the divine givingness, the eternal outpouring of spirit through its creation. And guess what? We are that outpouring of spirit. It's up to us to create that love. And I know that you're all loving me right this very moment. So we've been created in that image and likeness of God. And we know God makes no mistakes. So let's just imagine, okay? Adam is walking in the garden and cried out to God. You used to walk with me every day, and now I don't see you anymore. I'm lonely here. It's difficult for me to remember how much you love me. And God said, I will create a companion for you that will be with you forever, and who will be a reflection of my love for you, so that you will love me even when you cannot see me. And regardless of how selfish or childish or unlovable you may act at times, this new companion will accept you as you are and will love you unconditionally, just as I do. And so God created a new companion for Adam, and it was a good companion. And God was. And the new companion was pleased to be with Adam. And Adam said, Lord, I've already named all the animals in the kingdom, and I cannot think of a name for this new one. And God said, because I've created this new companion to be a reflection of my love for you, his name will be a reflection of my own name, and you will call him Dog. And Dog lived with Adam and was a companion for him and loved him. And Adam was comforted, and God was pleased, and Dog was content and wagged his tail. See, in Science of Mind, we understand that at the core of our being lies a divine presence, not necessarily out there someplace in the Garden of Eden, but within us, a universal mind in which we're all connected. Love is the essence of this divine presence, and it unites us all. Everything is spiritual. Everything is love if we look at it that way. And what we know is our thoughts are creative. What we think, we become. Thoughts are things. Love is the creative force of the universe. It's the catalyst for this manifestation. And so when we align our thoughts and intentions with love, we unleash the boundless potential of the creative mind. See, love is that highest vibration of thought, and it has the power to shape our reality. Who we are is who we are meant to be. Each one of us was brought to this moment in history, in the communities we were born into, in the families we were born into. We're born into this for a divine purpose. And when we embrace who we are, regardless of how the people around us react, we align with our own spiritual truth. We align ourselves with the infinite possibility of the universe. And this love opens doors. It breaks down barriers and allows us to manifest our highest potential. Ernest Holmes said, love is the grandest healing and drawing power on earth. I heard a story of twin baby boys that were born prematurely, and they needed to be put in incubators. One baby was put in one incubator and the other in another, and days passed. And one of the tiny babies was doing quite well, growing stronger and more vital every day. The other one, however, was not. In fact, he seemed to be slipping each day, getting weaker. And the medical staff was quite concerned for him, but they were doing everything medically possible for him and didn't know what else to do. And then one of the nurses had an inspired idea. So against hospital policy, she took the weak baby out of his incubator and put him in the incubator with his healthier brother. and the healthier of two, mind you, this is a premature baby, put his arm around and wrapped it around his sick brother. And you know what happened? From that moment on, he began to heal and head back in the direction of life. Michael Singer in The Untethered Soul says, energy can heal, and that's why love can heal. As you explore your inner energy, a whole world of discovery opens up to you. See, love has that incredible power to heal not only our bodies, but also our minds and spirits. Oh, it's the balm that soothes our wounds, restores our sense of wholeness. When we're in love, it just simply dispels fear, anxiety, negativity, and replaces them with that peace and serenity. Love can mend broken relationships. And when we approach conflicts with love and understanding, we find resolution and reconciliation. Here's the deal, though. To fully understand the power of love, we must begin with self-love. Now, self-love isn't being selfish. We're told to love our neighbor as ourselves. When we love ourselves unconditionally, we become vessels of love for others. And this is the foundation that we build our ability to love others on. And when we love ourselves, we open the door to loving others and receiving love in return. And see, sometimes we forget this. Sometimes we forget that we're perfect just the way we are. The gender identity, the sexual orientation, and ethnic heritage that we're born with, these are the divine imprints that are gifts from our source. Each one of us was purposely brought to this planet and born into the communities where we were raised at exactly the right time. Just think of your life as that divine appointment. So when we are authentic, when we are who we are meant to be, we celebrate that. There is no reason to feel shame around any of our identities. God makes no mistakes. And when we love ourselves, our lives shift. That authenticity inspires joy. And when we're out in the world, serving it as an example of self-love, we're proving to others that love always wins. Our decision to embrace who we are inspires others to do the same. So loving ourselves out loud attracts people into our lives who celebrate us. Loving ourselves and others aligns us with a beautiful opportunity to experience that, to be at peace. So believe in yourself, believe in the impossible, whatever it is you want to accomplish, regardless of how difficult, believe in yourself. Spirit nudged you to be here. Trust that your idea is divine. Always remembering love wins despite all obstacles. And when we trust our intuition, we inspire the others to do the same. In the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest says, if we look at love long enough, we shall become lovely, for this is the way of love. If God is love, if we gaze longingly at joy, it will make its home with us, and we shall enter its portals and be happy. So when we consciously live from that understanding that love is all there is, we experience a life of love greater than we can ever know. And that starts where? With self-love. And then we look around us and we say, what's happening out there? Many people look at the events in the world and basically concerned for our future. But if we look at the past, we see that everything turns out okay. If it's not okay, it's not the end. So there's always been conflict, disease, division. However, what's more important is there's always been healing, growth, compassion that has existed throughout the ages. Remember the wonderful stories we hear from 9/11 about people going out of their way, giving their lives for others, people who rescued other people, people who stepped up for that healing, that compassion. And so there's not a reason to hold on to the fear for our future. Why don't we just celebrate now the ways in which love wins every day? Marianne Williamson tells us this. She says, love is what we're born with. Fear is what we learned here. The spiritual journey is the unlearning of fear and the acceptance of love back into our hearts. Now, Science of Mind teaches us to love unconditionally without judgment or limitation. Love transcends all barriers, culture, religious, societal. It does not discriminate on race, gender, or social status. It is a force that unites us all. It expresses in every color. Even though people in interracial relationships around the world have had to fight for the right to love who they want to love. We heard a story about that just last week. Mildred Jeter and Richard Loving were charged by the state of Virginia for marrying at a time when interracial marriage were banned by the state. The U.S. Supreme Court struck down the ban, leading to interracial marriages becoming legalized throughout the country. Love also expresses itself as every gender, regardless of the countries who still deny equal rights to same-gender loving individuals. And when we love out loud, we help shift the world toward acceptance of all forms of loving relationships. I don't know if you watched Will and Grace back in the late 90s. It was the first network TV show with a same-gender loving protagonist. Can you imagine? That show sparked a global shift towards a cultural acceptance of same-gender loving people. Marriage equality became a cultural conversation. The Netherlands became the first country to pass marriage equality laws in 2001. Now there are 30 countries with marriage equality laws and others still advocating for it. See, the writers of Will and Grace and executives at NBC stood in their truth, contributing to that wave of marriage equality. And marginalized individuals throughout history who fought for the right to be themselves, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, paved the way for this global shift. Let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with me. Let there be freedom on earth. Let it begin with me. That freedom starts with an individual's decision to love out loud. Thich Nhat Hanh tells us true love is made of 4 elements: loving kindness, compassion, joy, equanimity. See, love is the solution to every problem. Any experience that causes conflict is actually an invitation to shift. Oh, don't you just love that? Any experience that causes conflict is an invitation for a shift. When we dive deeper into love to resolve any situation, we allow for that shift to occur. Conflict allows us to practice radical forgiveness. And when we respond to our challenges with that radical forgiveness, we demonstrate the value of forgiveness itself. Our choices are an example to others of how this forgiveness can look. I had a friend, Martha. She was 92-years old when she died. And for the 40 years that I knew her, she told the story over and over again of the time her sister wouldn't lend her $5 so she could buy a pair of shoes. And she retold this story so many times, she had it memorized down to the last letter. Do you have any stories like that? So one message that came through loud and clear every time she told the story, which was every chance she got, is that she would never forgive her sister for that, for not loaning her the money, even though her sister had died 10 years before. So, like a magnet, every time she told this story, this pulled her back into hurt and injustice. And what I know, I come from a large family, and what I know is this: families are definitely the training ground for forgiveness. And Lamont in Traveling Mercies tells us this. He says, at some point, You pardon the people in your family for being stuck together in all their weirdness. And when you can do that, you can learn to pardon anyone, even yourself eventually. It's like learning to drive an old car with a tricky transmission. If you can master shifting gears on that, you can learn to drive anything. So, this is a clue for us to release the burden of resentment through forgiveness, because holding on to grudges, well, that only hinders our spiritual growth. And by forgiving, we free ourselves and others to experience the transformative power of love. And it does have the power to transform love. Love wins through forgiveness, forgiving others, ourselves. This releases the burden of resentment, and it inspires positive change. See, love helps us find solutions to life challenges. We tap into our creative potential and find that in that sea of possibility, there are so many innovative ways to overcome obstacles. And we all have the power to respond to the conflict around us with love. Now, this doesn't mean that we ignore or spiritually bypass world events. It's important to find that balance for ourselves. And it's also important to find the balance between self care and giving back to our own communities. See, loving the people around us is just a more constructive use of our time, more constructive than complaining. And when we serve by example, the people around us, we inspire others to do the same. Michelle Alexander tells us Martin Luther King called for us to be love struck with each other, not colorblind toward each other. To be love struck is to care, to have deep compassion, and to be concerned for each and every individual, including the poor and vulnerable. See, living a life guided by love means living in alignment with our higher selves. But it has to be more than a concept. Love is a way of life. In a world seemingly filled with strife and discord, we must remember that love is not a passive concept. It's an active force. Love isn't just a feeling, it's an action. Love is a verb. And when we serve others with love, we embody the essence of love itself. Love is expressed through acts of compassion and kindness. It's the gentle touch, the listening ear, and the helping hand that makes a difference in the lives of others. Several years ago, members of the Association of Global New Thought had an audience with the Dalai Lama, and the meetings focused on dialogue among the group of leaders. And they had 5 questions they wanted to ask him. And so these were their questions. How do we address the widening gap between rich and poor? How do we protect the earth? How do we educate our children? How do we help Tibet and other oppressed countries or peoples? And how do we bring spirituality, this deep caring for each other, through all disciplines? And the Dalai Lama said the questions fall under the last one. They're all part of the last one. If we have true compassion, our children will be educated. We will care for the earth as well as for those who oppress or who have not. He asked the group, do you think loving on the planet is increasing or staying the same? His own response was, my experience leads me to believe that love is increasing. And he shared a practice with a group that will increase loving and compassion in the world, and asked everyone attending to go home and share it with as many people as possible. So I want to share it with you now. The practices are this. Spend 5 minutes at the beginning of each day remembering we all want the same thing and that we're connected. Spend 5 minutes cherishing yourself and others. Let go of judgments. Breathe in, cherishing yourself, and breathe out, cherishing others. If the faces of people you're having difficulty with appear, cherish them as well. And then during the day, extend that attitude to everyone you meet. We're all the same, and I cherish myself and you. And do this with the grocery clerk, the client, your family, coworkers, everyone. And the last one, stay in the practice, no matter what happens. I will post these in the chat for you. So love isn't always easy, and it's not always reciprocated. Nevertheless, we must choose love even when it's difficult, because that's what's going to change the world. Love transcends boundaries. It brings about forgiveness. It unites us as one human family. Who wouldn't want that? And let us affirm love is the answer to every question. It is the key that unlocks the door to our highest potential, our truest selves, and a world filled with peace and harmony. And as we journey through life's many questions, we may always remember love. Let us remember love in all its forms is our guiding star. It is the answer we seek. So let love be your guiding light, your source of strength, and your solution to life's mysteries. Embrace love in your thoughts, actions, and interactions. And watch as it transforms your life and the world around you. And so let's take that thought into our ending treatment today. And so breathing in that cherishing, breathing in, cherishing ourself, loving ourself, breathing out, cherishing others, loving others, breathing in love, breathing out love, breathing in love, breathing out love, because love is all there is. And I know that by whatever name we give it, God is love. By whatever name we call it, that infinite source of all good, that divine within us, that first cause is love. Love makes the world go round. Love transforms lives. And so knowing that we're surrounded by this love, that this love is born in us, it moves as us, it moves through us, and it moves for us. Love. Love is all there is. And so I affirm that this presence of love in all people heals relationships. This presence of love in all stands out, bringing peace to the planet. This presence of love in all people everywhere unites us. This love, communicating this love, brings peace as we share the wisdom, the truth, the beauty. And so I know in this creative expression of life, we express only love. That's all there is. And so I know in this there is a great healing, healing in body, mind, and spirit. And in this, we return to that wholeness of who and what we are. We love because we were first loved. And so we love ourselves. We love each other. We love planet Earth. And because we love, we care, we have compassion, we lend a listening ear, we provide that support that we can, and we move forward in ease and grace, knowing that we are loved, that we are loved, that we are loving, because love is all there is. Oh, I'm so grateful for this love. I'm so grateful for the ability to make a difference on this planet, to be that transformative power of love. So grateful to be alive. And in this gratitude, I invite you to join me. Oh, let us go on this journey of love and grace together. And affirm it with me by saying, and so it is.